And Alan Nahuliwa says, I recall you said dismissed or ignore your ex-girl to casually move on. Would meditate help move on? Cause I'm 70% moved on at the moment. Yeah, meditation would bring a lot more tranquility, relaxation to you. Your mind will settle, won't be agitated. You'll be more grounded and in control, confident, because you're connecting yourself with the nature's energy, and that is where you will not feel alone. And you feel that, okay, I got a backing. I'm connected to something, and I can feel it through the energy of it, through the tranquility of it, through how my mind feels, and so on. It is very important to meditate for many reasons. To strengthen your mind, brain is also a muscle. If you give it exercise, it'll become stronger. Like whatever you do of it, it creates a certain state, and that which you will do more often of it will become a naturally condition of your mind by default. Like if you play piano, the more you play, the more synaptic neurons will gear for making you a good piano player by the bridges that are created between the two synaptic neurons to allow that instructions. Neurotransmitters to make you good for what you're practicing. And the more you do it, the more of the neurons will create that same arrangement. And same thing with your mind. If you practice meditation, the more you do it, that becomes the natural default state of your mind. Rather than trying to get into a meditation mode, you will always be in a meditation mode, meaning focused, strong, relaxed, and confident. By not even trying, because you've tried it, you do it every day, every night, and that creates that new way of you being in your mind, the discipline in the mind, the way it will be organized. And then the byproduct of it would be that it would be harder for the mind to fall into the glitch of OCD, intrusive thoughts, and so on, which everybody on earth, every human being, every single human being has intrusive thoughts. Could be all kind of intrusive thoughts, harm intrusive thoughts, responsibility intrusive thoughts, sexual intrusive thoughts, pedophile intrusive thoughts, and none of them you have any kind of a intention to bring it to action at all. It's just intrusive thoughts. Everybody has it. It's just when you have an OCD and you fall into the OCD glitch, then it takes longer for these things to go away. They are constantly there. Because of course, as you know, what happens then when you have an OCD, there is a signaling malfunction between the frontal cortex and thalamus, which the frontal cortex says, supposedly, whatever, something that's disgusting to you, whatever suggestion or thought or image comes to mind, a person who's not in the OCD glitch, because again, all of us have OCD at one time in the night or another, but the person who doesn't have he's not in the OCD glitch, when there's an intrusive thought, disgusting thought, a thought that is totally, it's not your way of living or your interests or your makeup, then the person who is not in the glitch of OCD will say, oh, what the hell was that? Or laughs at it, or kind of says, ooh, that was a bad thought, and then moves on. But the one which has an OCD, at the time of the intrusive thought, the frontal cortex says, ooh, you are this and that, which is totally not you at all, having to do with anything. Killing someone, pushing someone on the railroad track, or all images of this, or if you're heterosexual, makes you feel like, or you're gay, or images of another man that is you're supposed to kiss, or you should kiss, or is kissing you, or you're having sex with your girlfriend, and another man appears in your mind and just ruins the whole mood. And these are two, depending on your sexuality, different things are discussing to different people. And when it happens with a person who has an OCD and the OCD glitch, because as I said, everybody has OCD at one time or another. When you're in an OCD glitch, frontal cortex suggests that image or thought, or let's say that accusation, or brings that question, suggests that. And then your thalamus gets that message, and immediately, in a heartbeat, nanoseconds, knows the answer based on your biology and how everything, the history of your being is, and is clear for it what it is, and responds from the proper fragments, components of the brain, sends a response back, not interested. That's not what my interest would be, and it's insulting to me, or disgusting to me, or signal says, shut that thought down. It's not my lifestyle. But the question comes back again. And the person with OCD wonders, why did this suggestion or thought or image is not disappearing? Because it has OCD, it's counting on these images and thinking that thought has a meaning, has a legitimate presence, has a judgment, that has factuality. And it gets confused. Why? Because it doesn't go away. It says, if it doesn't go away, it's my thought. It might actually mean, then I must be gay. And these questions will go on, not realizing that the reason that this thing doesn't go away, like when you're not in an OCD glitch, is because frontal cortex is deaf, doesn't get that message that was sent from thalamus, giving him the answer to shut this thought or image down, showing that I'm not interested. It doesn't get that. It's a glitch in signaling. So it keeps sending it. As I said in the other times, it's just like a friend of you asks you, do you want tea or coffee? You say, no, thank you. Then you hear him say again, do you want tea or coffee? He says, no, thank you. He says, do you want tea or coffee? He says, no, thank you. He says, do you want tea or coffee? He says, what the heck? No, thank you. He says, do you want tea or coffee? He says, you wonder, maybe I should have tea or coffee. If you have a weak mind, if you're not realizing that the guy is deaf, he doesn't hear your answer. It's not because you have to have tea or coffee, it's because he just doesn't hear your answer. That's why he's not shutting up. So this is the same in your brain, and you don't realize that you have to understand there is a separation, clear separation between your thoughts and you. In other words, you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not you. Totally separate. The thoughts that you instigate in order to calculate something or design something or accomplish something, draw a plan or do something that you're trying to use it to advance your life and bring about a certain kind of a project to fruition, that's your thinking. But these ones are transient, intrusive thoughts having nothing to do with your desire or your design or your instigation of any kind. They just pop up because of the glitch. Because usually they pop up, everybody has intrusive thoughts, could pop up for whatever reason, and then it shuts down because automatic answer knocks it down and turns the switch off. But the switch doesn't go off in OCD cases. So that is when you should have to remind yourself that thoughts are just thoughts. They're not representation of my biology. They are thoughts, suggestions that have nothing to do with me. It's like I'm walking in the street, somebody calls me, hey, asshole. You're an asshole. I'm not an asshole. I just pass by rather than thinking, oh, if the guy has said so, then must be right. Why? He's got nothing to do with me. He doesn't even know me. He's not part of me. He's not part of my family. I don't even know the guy. So what a person from outside yells out to you, the same as a thought showing up. It's got no connection with you. But you entertain the thought as factual. Why? Because it so happened to be in your house. It so happened to be in the screen of your brain. And you have been since childhood conditioned to think that thought is a source of information, source of facts, which it's false because you never realize they're different thoughts. A thought that is based on the information that you want to use to solve something, that's a different story. The thought that shows up out of nowhere and it's got nothing to do with you, but it brings suggestions, that's transient thought, intrusive thoughts. It's got no relation to you. When you separate thought from yourself and do not respect thoughts as if it's part of you and understand that you have abilities to receive, make voluntarily or involuntarily different kind of thoughts. And one of the abilities that we human beings have is to make thoughts or be an establishment where thought can be created, whether by us purposely when we want to create something or by intrusive thoughts, transient thoughts, pop-up thoughts, just however. Why? Because the ideas are floating around and we are aware of ideas in this world. So they can pop up. When you understand this, that is just because a thought pops up, it has nothing to do in your description, and it has nothing to do with your biology, and focus on this fact that only 30, 40,000 years ago, you learned to think. You learned to speak. So what were you then before 40,000 years ago? Not a human being? Not knowing your sexuality? Not knowing that you had to eat, you had to sleep, you had to fight, you had to, procreate, and what your interests were? That you loved women? However your sexuality was, you knew it way before thought came to the picture. Human being been around for what? God knows how many million years it started, and when human being became that human being. And they were functioning perfectly. Thought only came along 30,000 years ago. So, are you going to tell me that thought gave you your sexuality? Thought gave you your heart? Thought gave you your kidneys? Your biology was decided before even thought was a capability in a human being. So if you got whatever you have in your biology, through your biology, through the system, through being born, through being created, not from thought, because thought didn't even exist when you were being created in you. So how could you lose it to a thought? If you didn't receive your sexuality from your thought, how could you lose your sexuality to thought, whatever your sexuality is? Think about it. Your mom and dad got together. Papa was in the mood, Mama was in the mood. They had a great time. And one of the sperms was smart and strong enough to get to the ovum. And the electrical pulse was created. Boom! The first thing was created was that the combustion, that spark. That spark was the beginning of your heart. Tell me, was there a thought involved in there? They just made love. The spark just created. In order for the rest of the things to be created, the heart had to be there. there is no brain, there is no thought to be even a possibility. Then the rest of the organs, I don't know what came next, liver, bones, I don't know what. They all came together. Kidney, liver, then your thingy, whatever your sexuality is, that was created. And was there a thought? No, you're even not born yet. So thought wasn't even in the picture when every part of you was being designed and created in your mother's womb. So are you telling me your heart, your kidney, your liver, your sexuality, your genitals was created by thought? Thought wasn't even in existence when these things were being created. Then you were born, still no thought, just instinct. Crying or food or whatever, that's it, yeah? No thought. And even a year later, you're beginning to just recognize things. So where was thought? And all this time you didn't have your thingies? You did. You had your heart, you had your liver, you had your hands, you had everything, and you had your genitals, and you had your sexuality already created. So none of them have to do with thoughts. So when a thought pops up to your mind, questioning your sexuality, the idea of it, you just say, fuck off. You were not even there when I was born, let alone a million years before 30 years ago. There were still humans, and you weren't even in existence at all. And in me, I was created before I could even know what thinking is. So understanding all these things helps you to notice that thought popping up in your head, questioning about anything, whether pushing somebody over the railing to in front of a train, or harming someone, or that if you're a heterosexual, questioning that you're homosexual, or whatever your gender is, suggesting the opposite of it, doesn't make sense, and it cannot change you. I'm worrying about, oh, I'll be gay. How? Because I thought, well, thought wasn't there when you became a heterosexual. It wasn't thought that gave you your sexuality. So it can't be thought that it could take it away or change it now, yesterday, or tomorrow, or ever. It's already casted in stone. It's already created through your biology. Then you can rest and say, okay, now, so the problem is not that I should ever question my sexuality. I am who I am, who I've always been, and I'll always be this. So what's the problem? The problem is the annoyance of these thoughts. How am I going to stop these thoughts? Then you get to the next part that says, you just simply ignore them. And ignore them so much that eventually they see there's no takers here. They don't play with me. They don't take me seriously. These ideas, that thoughts pops up. Then eventually they fall by the wayside. Then you watch many of the researchers and specialists, psychologists and doctors telling you that these are just intrusive thoughts, that everybody in the world has it. Only the OCD people will fall into a glitch, and they actually believe their thoughts. And that's the problem. The believing. The reaction to the thought is the problem. But the thought can never, ever do any change in you, ever. If that was the case, I would ask for, I don't know, more viewers. And it would work in a second. It doesn't. I still have to do the work. So thought is just an ability when you actually have something to do with it, let alone the ones that you don't have anything to do with, the transient thoughts and intrusive thoughts. It's just something that is created without your intervention at all. But like eyesight, you can see things. That's an ability. But doesn't mean anything that you see is actually describing you, or you have anything to do with it, or you wanted it to be there, or you created it to be there, or it describes you. You just simply say, I don't like to see that. You look the other way. Thought is the same. When it shows up, you're the boss. You're supposed to judge all your capabilities. Thought shows up, you judge it. I'm not interested in that. You move on. Not that I'm not interested, but let me see what it is. What are you doing here? Well, that's not me. Let's debate about it. No, you don't debate with an asshole. You don't debate with something that actually in reality doesn't exist. A thought has no existence. It's just an idea that has come up for no reason, got nothing to do with you, so you leave it at that, nothing to do with me. And you just ridicule it and you pass by. And eventually it realizes that you actually say, let me beat you to the punch. What kind of idea do you have? That I'm a homosexual? Okay, you imagine, okay, all right, I am. And I imagine even worse than what you bring to my mind. And you can see that nothing changes. And then eventually you beat the thought to the punch that wants to torment you. You just go further than that. And you become insensitized to it. And then you allow the thought to be there because it's a thought. It's like the ocean's got lots of debris, shit, this, that on it. I let them be, but I navigate my boat in a way that it'll just take me where I want to go. I recognize the debris and the garbage on the surface of the water, but I don't have nothing to do with it. Naturally, I just move on. That's what you do. Thoughts show up, you recognize them. So, okay, oh, you're there. Okay, fuck it. You do your thing, and you navigate your life, stay in the moment, because moment is the real actuality. Thought is in the memory. Memory is the past. Past is dead. It actually doesn't exist. And that thought that comes from a non-existence of the past doesn't exist either. It's just an illusion, an image that is popped up because of malfunction. Some weird thing that is all human beings is. Intrusive thoughts. You ignore it, belittle it, laugh at it, move on, focus on your life, be in the present moment, and live your life in the now, and that takes you out and shows the thought that there is no interest here, eventually falls by a wayside. There's a lot more to talk about this HOCD and OCD in general, which I will eventually maybe make a longer video that describes from A to Z of it. And for the past few weeks, I've been writing lots of stuff. I've got a pamphlet so big, probably I'll make it available for all of you in case anybody has these sort of questions and thoughts and concerns, and you could have it. And in the meantime, I might make a video that it could be elaborate maybe in many different parts as I have sort of completed my research on that. And of course, I will put links of many of the doctors and specialists that you can also watch their videos and be assured that you are who you are, you've always been, you'll always be, and these are just thoughts, nothing but the thought. Just ignore them until they eventually give up. That's the cycle of it. Now, let's see, who do we have here? Excalibur says, that was a damn good explanation of OCD. Did you struggle with it in the past, Mehran? Very good knowledge. Yes, of course. Everybody did. I had OCD like coming out of everywhere. I don't know. The only thing is that I just didn't think of it. I said, okay, that's what it is. You know, I gotta do, you know, have a tick on my neck maybe. Okay. I gotta make a sound. Okay. It was school time. I wasn't questioning it. I was just saying, okay, that's what it is. So I go along with it. Even, you know, if you wanted to write something, you would just write it in such a way and rewrite it on top of that line and again and again, and until there would be a hole in the paper. So, yeah, I had OCD. Definitely. Usually when the mind is overactive, very active, OCD is going to be part of it. The transient thoughts and intrusive thoughts are going to be part of it's part of every human being's brain anyhow, but the ones who have OCD, that combined together kind of it becomes a little bit challenging. And then, but if you have a core belief about yourself and you're not willing to have anything attack that, even though if it sounds so real or seems so real, you just protect that core belief, then you will eventually overcome it. Even if you don't, it just won't affect you the way it would affect the people who actually believe their thoughts. if you even believe your thoughts, but you eventually disbelieve them because you have such core belief that you are going to protect it, dead or alive, to death. That's your mission. Therefore, what you have to realize is that, how can I get rid of this? What are these? They're annoying, they bother me. Then that would be a different journey. It's annoying and disgusting, but it's not threatening because you've already have a decision and have a core belief that is going to protect it, and you're sure of that forever. But now you got to deal with, what the hell is this? Then, of course, then you go through life. That was like childhood. And then you go through life and you come up with different kind of OCDs. Because when the OCD is there, regardless of what is going to be an OCD, respond to it. Whatever kind of intrusive thoughts it will be, because OCD is there, is going to react. The OCD is going to be part of it. Then you got to recognize that this is OCD. It's not me, it's OCD. That kind of relaxes you. Whether it's about washing hands, number of times, so many times, or touching things, all kinds of OCD. Everyone has intrusive thoughts and OCD in this world. And knowing about what it is and separating thoughts with your biology, separating thoughts and you, it'll all be the knowledge that you can use. And of course, there's so many doctors and therapists and so on that can help you with that if you wanted more information. And I have finished my little pamphlet about this particular type, which is homosexual OCD, HOCD, a pure OCD, SOCD, sexual OCD. And along with the pamphlet and the way that I will put the video together, it would be very informative. And once you get to know the nature of this, then you'll relax, because then the jig is up. You have learned and found out, figured out what the hell this thought is that it's got nothing to do with you. Now you will downgrade it and you'll not be so sensitive about it. And there are other techniques that, of course, the psychologists and psychiatrists have talked about it so brilliantly. And when I make that video, I've made a bunch of videos, but they're short ones, like 20 minutes, 14 minutes, so on. But this elaborate video, which would be my presentation of how to deal with this thing, if I ever get around to it and organize it and make it, I will also include the links of all these specialists that have brilliantly helped and described their version and their way of explaining it. Because the idea is not about, oh, it's me that's helping people. No, the idea is that to have a complete arsenal of knowledge to make that look of the intrusive thoughts or HOCD or transient thoughts, to make that look of it become with no teeth anymore, like just becomes benign. It's got no threat, no fear into it anymore. Why? Not because it changed its nature, because you have understood its nature is bullshit, is a puff, is a fear reactionary, like you're reacting to the fear of what you not having what you love and you always loved and you are and you always will be. When you understand that it is a fear-based, it's rooted in thought, and thought doesn't exist, and you're reacting to something that really doesn't exist at all, either in physical form or in you, in your biology or your lifestyle, then you will relax. But you gotta be able to separate thought and you. And when I finish it, there would be a couple of interesting surprises that I don't think anywhere else has been mentioned, which if you go deep enough in my information sharing with you, understanding the psyche and where thought comes from, and then you'll be free. You'll be free. You'll be free from mind. You'll be free from thought. The freedom from mind. Don't take your mind that it's all-knowing. No, it's got lots of shit in it. And don't be bamboozled by it. Don't be... Freedom from thought is your mission. Intrusive thoughts and HOCD, all just thoughts. They've got no reality. No teeth, no actuality, nothing. Bullshit, nonsense. But you get bamboozled because you love who you are, what you are, and you're always fearful of losing it, because we have been always raised in a paranoia environment. We have been conditioned to have paranoia in everything. We've been conditioned to beg for what we want. Begging God, begging mother, begging teacher, begging father, begging everything, wishing, wanting, I'm not enough, I gotta be more, I gotta do this to get that. All of that was preparing us to have OCD to begin with. That's the stupidity of the systems that we've been raised in and the conditionings that we have received throughout our life from every organization, including our own home, to the teachers, to the policeman, to the governmental rules, to everything else and everybody else, religion and everything who wanted to control us. And we've been living in a state of paranoia. And no wonder when intrusive thoughts comes, which is a malfunction of the brain, because we are like any other electrical system. We have malfunctions, just anything else. But we accept their malfunction. We don't accept ours as if it's, oh, it's my head, I'm perfect because I pray, or because I'm part of I'm a human being, I'm perfect, therefore there can't be anything wrong. So if something weird shows up in my head, I have to believe it. No, we also malfunction. Bloody hell, just like anything else. Accept that. We're not perfect. Our brains are not perfect. But when that happens, because of the paranoia background, we are bamboozled so easily, like a weak-minded, effects of a Jedi trick. Instead of us being the Jedi, which I'm asking you to be, you be the Jedi against your thoughts, against intrusive thoughts, against transient thoughts, against any kind of a OCD that comes. You be the Jedi. Instead, we are the weak-minded, and they are doing the Jedi trick, and we're falling for it. Don't. You're stronger than that. You're the boss. When you recognize these are all abilities, not decrees or judgments or describing your biology, and can have nothing to do with your biology because they weren't even around thought, intrusive thought, transient thoughts, or thought at all when your biology was decided and created, then you'll understand it's all bullshit then. All the accusations and the pop-up thoughts and all that nonsense that you worry about is based on paranoia, fear, and not really understanding that these things don't even exist because they didn't give what you love to have, and they can't take away what you love to have and to be. Simple. Very simple. And they didn't even exist till 40,000 years ago, but we were still human beings before that, way long before that. How did we survive? There was no problem when we didn't have any thoughts and speaking abilities, because then the words had no meaning. But then speaking language came to the picture, and words became a value that nobody could contest it because it was in dictionary, in the records. This word means this. So if that word was uttered by anyone or came to your mind in form of transient or intrusive thought, just popped up, you're reacting to the meaning of the word, which is established and you can't contest that. But where the fuck did the word come from? It wasn't you. And word by itself doesn't exist, has no existence. It's the meaning of it that implies to you, gives you a suggestion, and you buy into the suggestion based on the fear that you have not to have what you love to have, not to be what you love to be. These are the forces at work, which when you understand them, you'll say, oh, the hell with them all. They've got no power. I'm the boss. I choose what ignore, what not ignore. Anyhow, if I go on, it'll be another 3 hours. I think that video is going to be a long one because there's so many different aspects of it that I have to discuss. But for now, just understand, this is hopefully will come eventually. So there are 18 of us. Let's click on like, 18 of us. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Let me have some tea. Says Mehran, I always had mild OCD, but nowadays also experience anxiety. So my question is those can be combined or what? Yeah, of course. OCD is anxiety driven. Anyhow. I guess I should have that booklet that I have prepared. I don't know how many pages it is. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's 10, 15, 20 pages. Maybe more. I don't know. But maybe I should have that in PDF and have it available on my site. And maybe to help the channel, I put a small nominal price on it so everybody can have it. That's a pretty complete thing, but I don't know when I will get to do it. But the video that I will make maybe help. But anyhow, OCD is an anxiety-driven problem, and it always brings anxiety. In fact, can you guys say yes or no? Just either put one or just say yes or no to this question. We want to do some exercise together. Would everybody like to get a piece of paper for a second? Piece of paper and a pen or pencil. Just say yes or no. I gotta have enough people want to say yes to do it. Otherwise, we won't do it. We'll just move on. There's 17 of us here. I want to see if I get 17. There are 2 of them. 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it got to be piece of paper and pen, not computer or something. Piece of paper and pen. The 8 people out of 18. Where's the other 10? 9. Everybody should answer, whether yes or no. I gotta have answer from everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we actually here? Rashid says no. Okay. So 9 to 1. There's 17 of us here. How come only 10 people have responded? Where are the other 7? Are you guys sleeping? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're not really 17 people here. There's 8 of us. All right. The ones who actually said yes, please go get a piece of paper and a pen. What do you mean they're lazy, Rashid? You said no. Who's lazy then? Nick says, Kia ora, Matu Amera. Kia ora, dear Nick. How are you, dear? So has everybody responded? No, not really. Only 9 of you, 10 of you. The ones who want to do this little exercise with me, just get a piece of paper and a pencil and say yes if you want us to do this exercise. This is about OCD and anxiety. Just very quick exercise. Just get a piece of paper, Chris, and a pen if you want to participate, and then I'll go through it. Just takes about less than a minute. Thank you, Nick. Yeah. All right, Rashid. Good for you. That's my boy. So when everybody is ready, just put a 1 there. 1. That means you're all ready. You got a piece of paper and a pen. Click 1. There it is. 1 person is ready. 1, 1. Okay, 3 people, 4 people, 5, 6, 7. There were 2 more people who said yes, so what happened to them? They're getting pen. Okay, 8. All right. Looks like that's as many as they have. All right. Okay. This is what I want you guys to do. On the paper, before I say it, I want to explain to you that OCD is basically, the content of it is irrelevant. The topic is irrelevant because it's all false. It's absolutely has no value. It's untrue. But how you react to this is the problem that brings the anxiety. And when the anxiety is there, the brain doesn't realize that this is not true. To brain, something that you think and the actuality of it happening is the same. That's why you get that reaction that you get that drives you nuts. And then you want to find out why, which actually there is no answer to be had because that thing is not true. And you don't need to look for answer, but you're looking for a logical answer, which OCD mind keeps going with it, which is the trouble. But the brain doesn't understand the difference between what the thought is and what the actuality is. It reacts in the same way. Now, the exercise. I want you to pick up your pen or pencil and on the paper, write, I hope, and then the name of the person that you love the most in the world. And then write, dies tonight. And how many of you reacted and completed the sentence? Some of you probably stopped writing. Some of you crossed the name. Some of you got a shock. What? Never. And that simply tells you that you reacted with anxiety to something that was never true and would have never happened. And if you had completed that, you would have even, some of you maybe called tonight, find out if that person is alive. I didn't cause that because you have a hard time. Your brain is in a way that cannot understand that there is no threat because the brain reacts to a threat, whether suggested or actuality, illusory or actuality, in the same way. So your job is to understand that this is not real to begin with. Like when you sleep and you dream and you wake up with such amazing uncomfortable feelings, scared or sweating. But it was a dream, wasn't it? Nothing true. You were sleeping, but the brain doesn't know. What it sees, it reacts as if it's real. How come you accept that when you're sleeping and it's a dream? That everything is okay. It was a dream. It's not true. It's not, everything is okay. But when you actually are awake and you know, but you believe it and you react. But it's exactly like the dream. It's a dream, a pop-up idea. Nonsense. It scared you and you reacted in sweating and all that. And the same thing in intrusive, transient OCD thought. But once you focus that the brain doesn't understand the difference between reality and actuality and falsehood, it reacts the same way. And just because it has reacted, that's not an evidence that that idea, that intrusive thought is true or is correct. That's the reaction you get even in a dream. That's a reaction you get even when you want to write the name of your loved one and say, I hope it dies or she dies. You can't do that. And the same way, if you're driving with your car in a sunny road and suddenly you see a big boulder right in front of the road and you don't know where to go, this way, that way, and before you know it, you just put on a brake, you react. And when you get closer, you see it was just a piece of paper. Sunshine was reflecting on it and it was making it seem like a boulder. But you didn't have time. You reacted to as if it was real. These illusions for the brain, there are lots of malfunctions and illusory misunderstandings to the brain that happens. But some of them you have a explanation for it, like, oh, it was a dream. And you say, oh, and that's the end of it. Even if you have OCD, when you dream something bad, when you wake up, you realize reality and you're okay. But when you're not sleeping and it conjures up something pop up in your mind, a transient, intrusive thoughts about anything, harm OCD, that you're going to kill someone or you're going to harm someone, you're going to push someone over the to the railroad in front of the train, or if you're going to be gay, if you're having a homosexual OCD, or intrusive thought about that you're going to become gay or have been gay, or maybe you're denying all that shit. You believe a thought that has no basis, but has created the anxiety, and because the anxiety has created that feeling, and you take that as an evidence that because I reacted to it, it must be true. No. Was that boulder in the street real that you reacted to? No. Was a dream real that you reacted to? No. Was this that you wrote down, I hope someone that you love is going to die tonight, was that real that you stopped writing? No. And that is how you should treat the OCD. Don't give a damn about it. It's all illusory. When you understand that and separate your thoughts from you, then you will treat it as something that is just nonsense. I don't have to pay attention to it. I don't care how my anxiety makes me react to it, because I react to anything, even if I'm sleeping. So that is not an evidence that that thought can ever be true at all. All right. Now let's see. John says, I hesitated. All right. Milomiko, okay. And Olin says, I stopped. Chris says, I hesitated. I still wrote it low. Yeah, you're a bastard. Call them up, see if they're alive. Yeah, right. I was just joking. I didn't mean you're a bastard. Just something came out. And Nazra says, I did stop. Written because my heart started racing. There we go. And Abhi says, great piece of saying. SM says, maybe people are afraid it would run into a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's all nonsense, all thoughts. Rashid says, I wrote the whole phrase with the name of my loved ones, but I cut the papers. One way or another, you reacted. So you can see now what I'm trying to say. The reaction to a thought pop-up, or intrusive thoughts, or a dream, it doesn't mean that the dream or the pop-up intrusive thought is or can ever be true. It's a fucking thought. Separate yourself from thought, and you. Thought is not you. You're not thought, and you were decided and created way before thought part of you was. So it has nothing to do with you being who you are, having given you what you are, and nothing to do with taking it away ever. It's a thought. Treat it as nonsense. You're the boss. You're the judge. Only you. Judge of all these things. Seeing, thoughts, whatever. You're the boss, not the thought. Thought is nonsense. All right. Bradley says, makes so much sense. Thank you. You're quite welcome. Nazra says, now you explained to us. I feel better already. Good. Oleg says, thank you. I understand. Good. Now, on that note, guys, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes and 53, 54, 55 seconds and going. So it's time for me to end our discussion tonight and our live streaming, and tell you that I love you all and thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I'll try to stay with you every day if I can. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.